Welcome to Big Bold Moves Abundant Life. I am your host, Lisa Marie Hintze, and today I am thrilled to introduce you to my son, Ryan Hintze. Ryan is the founder of Hintze LLC, a family-run business right here in Parrish, Florida. From fast shipping tools around the country to local and secure RV and boat storage, he's built something that truly serves his valued customers with quality and care. I can't wait for you to hear his journey and the bold moves that he's made and is making as a young business owner. Today on Big Bold Moves Abundant Life, we're going to be talking with Ryan Hintze. And Ryan Hintze is an entrepreneur in the community. And we want to just welcome you today, Ryan, and let us know what it is about you that makes you different from all the things that you do in our community.
Thank you for having me on your inaugural podcast.
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and talk about some of the things that you do in your business. And we're talking about big, bold moves and abundant life. And big, bold moves really are things that we just have to do sometimes to make advancements in life. And to have an abundant life is a very different definition that we all have. Ryan, will you tell us a little bit about what you think about when you hear abundant life? What does that mean to you?
Abundant life means to me having a lot of balance and mainly keeping things going in the right direction in all facets of life, I would say. Workplace, personal life, and spiritual life as well.
Great. Awesome. Tell us a little bit about your business, Ryan, and how did you get started in your business?
I started my business after I graduated high school in 2014. I started just a media company where I was doing like website design for a few of my friends, a few old teachers, and from there I decided to venture into selling stuff online. I started actually I sold my first thing online when I was pretty young, I think in like elementary school. I sold a granite cross that I made out of granite samples from a granite factory. I super glued them together in the formation of a cross, stuck it in the box without any bubble wrap or packing paper, and somehow it survived a journey to like California or something like that. And then after that, I decided to just keep finding stuff around the house and selling things online just to make money to buy other stuff like skateboards and whatnot. When I was like, I guess in middle school, I started working at the golf course, and a lot of people leave stuff behind, and I got the chance to have dibs on things that were left in the lost and found bin after a certain period of time that no one claimed them. So I basically sold golf head covers, golf clubs, and things that people would leave at the golf course on eBay just for extra spending money on the side. And then fast forward about 10 or so years, now I basically do the same thing, but at a much higher level. I buy pallets of items that I can get at a good price that I could resell for more money on Amazon, eBay, and Walmart.com. And that's basically what I do.
That's awesome. And just listening to the different ways that you've come to find a way to make a living is pretty impressive. And it sounds, being a young guy, I like to think that you're an opportunist. It sounds like you look for opportunities where somebody might put something off to the side that doesn't seem to have any value, and you really take the opportunity to turn it into something more. So that's pretty impressive. And hearing your story, it just brings me to the question of, you've gone through this journey. You have made some pretty bold moves in your career, it sounds like to me. And I don't know if you've ever thought about yourself as being, sounds like you're in retail, so a retailer on this level. Did you ever see yourself in this position?
No, I just don't. I think I have a passion for selling things, and a lot of people don't really want to put in the work to make money on the side. And that's what this started out as like a side hustle. And then it transformed into more of, it's my full-time job now. And it's given me opportunities to do other things with the money that I make and other types of interests that I have as well. And it seems like everything I do, I try to make money. So I'm always trying to find different ways to make money. And I've tried many different types of strategies to make money. it doesn't just happen like one overnight with one thing. It's it was a work in progress and always has been.
This episode of Big Bold Moves Abundant Life is brought to you by Fearlessly Debt Free. If you have debt, mortgage debt, car loans, any type of debt, credit cards, college loans, you are interested in knowing how you can pay that debt off into a third to a half of the time faster, or you would like to save a third or a half of the amount of money that you're spending on interest and fees, you can click the link below, get on my calendar. We can have a discovery call. It's a free analysis to show you exactly how much you can save. Fearlessly debt free, where we want you to live an abundant life. So, what do you feel is one thing that you can look back and say, wow, that particular situation really turned out to be a great situation without expecting it? And I know you have other interests too that you want to talk about and some other ways that you make money with your business.
And I always say everything happens for a reason. There's been times where I've had to travel 20 hours to a location and work on no sleep. And at the moment, you're thinking, is this really going to be worth it? I hope it is. And when I look back at it, those situations that I've been put in have always, for the most part, panned out to being pretty lucrative from a business perspective. So that's where I always have to trust my instincts when I'm about to make a decision in business. I know the feeling that I had at those prior times when I was second guessing or maybe like thinking, oh, this might not be worth my time. But really, you just got to keep going. You just got to keep doing it because you never know the next breakthrough that you'll have or the people that you meet or the deals that you can get. So it's all about risk taking. And like I said, you won't know unless you try it. That's really great advice for a lot of people in business, of course. And can you explain to me, or can you remember a time where you were, often for myself to say that you have to experience the valleys to really appreciate the mountaintops. So it sounds to me like without having that sleep and with pushing it and pushing it, it really did pan out for you. And going through some of those challenges really does make our celebrations even better. So, speaking about celebrations, what are some of the things that you do in your business and your family to really celebrate the success that you've been able to have all these years? I feel like our family likes to go on random like trips to Disney and just really likes to stay like local. So I wouldn't say we like to go on vacations that often, but when we do, they're always a good time. I work from home, so I'm fortunate enough to see my family almost all the time. So it's just even if it's not like a whole dedicated weekend to hang out with the family, it's still valuable to see them between working and them popping in to where I'm working and stuff like that. But back to the valleys and the mountaintops, there's a lot of, I would say there's a lot of times where you get blind to situations when you're in those valleys where you can't even see the mountaintops. So that's why you just have to dig deep. And I'm a former athlete, so I know the whole like way that you can work out and gain muscle and stuff like that. And it's the same thing with like business and finances and stuff like, and just going back to the whole fitness thing, like no pain, no gain. It's kind of the same with business. So if you're just questioning yourself, you probably just need to put more effort towards what you're trying to do. That way you'll get more comfortable and get more experience and you'll get more lucky as well. The harder you work, the luckier you'll get. That's right. And tell me a little bit about being an athlete. What sports did you play? I played basically every sport you could sign up for in high school. I played golf, started off at golf, then I played basketball, then I did track and field, then I did football, and then I did tennis with the training from Wii Sports. After high school, I actually played college basketball at State College of Florida for 2 years, and then I transferred to University of South Florida where I played football for the remainder of my college career. And that whole experience of having to balance sports with school as well as working was pretty intense. And looking back at it now, like now it just makes everything much easier because all I have to do is focus on basically business. And that whole, I would say, 5 years was like boot camp for the real world. I wouldn't say I used a lot of stuff that I learned in college, but just having to balance so many things and wake up in the morning at 5 a.m. to go run until I throw up, having to live or makes me appreciate living the way I do now.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. And listening on our podcast today are probably other entrepreneurs like yourself. And I think those are really great life lessons, especially for the younger entrepreneur who doesn't really go through some of those experiences. And it sounds to me like you would really encourage people to do some things in their life that really teach them not only the ability to move forward through challenges, but also to put themselves in places where they're seeing things from a different point of view. Like you mentioned, something that may be difficult, don't look at it as difficult. Look at it as something that's growing you, stretching you, and teaching you how to maneuver through those tough times. So that's really commendable for you. Just curious to know, it seems like you work a lot. So what motivates you every single day? What gets you excited to get out of bed in the morning?
Honestly, gets me up in the morning is just a new opportunity to find new ways to tackle the whole business environment, as well as I get notifications in my email that I see when I first wake up of some things that I have to take care of, mostly sending orders out to customers. As an Amazon seller, you basically have to send things out pretty quickly. So as soon as I get those orders in the morning, I just go outside before my family's awake and I do all of my work that I have to do, all the busy work for the day to get it ready to go out for the shipping companies to come pick up the packages for the day. So that basically is what motivates me to get out of bed because I know every time I ship something out, I make money.
Awesome. And then obviously you've got a good handle on what you're doing with your shipping and your warehouse and inventory coming in, inventory going out with your orders. What are some of the challenges that you've been able to just recognize and then tackle those challenges? What are some of the things that you do?
Every day there's a challenge, whether it be a customer that received a broken item or they never received the item at all. I wear a lot of hats being a solo entrepreneur at the moment. So I have to do everything from finance to bookkeeping to purchasing to shipping and receiving. So there's a lot of different things that I have to handle on a day-to-day basis. So mainly I just like to tackle the biggest issue first. It actually depends. Sometimes, depending on the day, some days I'll do the big things first and handle the smaller things towards the end of the day, and vice versa. But the main thing is I just like to make sure my email is completely empty by the end of the day.
What are some of the first steps that you will take? A challenge comes to you. What is it that you'll do? What are your basic steps? I'm sure like you mentioned, it's different depending on the scenario, but is there a way that you attack those challenges so that they don't seem so intense?
Yes. So the first way, if I receive a challenge, I like to not respond. Let's say if it's a message or something, I like to not respond right away and process that what my response is going to be for probably 6 to 12 hours. That way, it's not an emotional response and more of a strategic business response to whatever challenge is facing me. And then at that point, I usually have all the emotions put aside and can respond in a manner that's good for the business.
Good for the client, I'm sure too.
I like to put aside my emotions and provide a solution to the customer that is satisfactory to them. Because at the end of the day, the customer is always right.
Yeah, you got to make sure you can make the customer happy. Starting a business young can be really risky, and it sounds like you did start pretty young with your business and it evolved to where it is today. Were there financial struggles, or was there a mindset or hurdles that you had to work through when you started that business when it comes to your finances?
I started the business with my own money, so I didn't really have to rely on any outside funding or money from parents or grandparents. So I could only dive into certain things that I could afford at the time, whether it be inventory or equipment, things like that. So I never have taken a business loan out for anything. I've only used credit cards that I know that I can pay back in time before it's due without gaining or without accruing interest. There's actually a card that I was thinking about getting at the time that was from American Express that gives you like 60 days to pay back your card. But I just used one. I use one and still do now that you just have to pay back within 30 days. So my goal is that whatever I'm buying for inventory, I'm selling it as fast as I can and I'm paying that off 15 days of making the purchase.
So, how did you fund your first warehouse? I know that your warehouse, from what I understand, started very small, and you want to talk about where your business started logistically. How did that work? Where you just kept growing more and grew up to the warehouse that you currently have now?
So I started off warehousing in my guest bedroom. I used to stack like boxes to the ceiling. And at the time, it was a yeah, 3 bedroom, 2 bath house, about 1,700 square feet. And it was just my wife, Emily, and I, just freshly married. So we had 2 spare bedrooms that were basically empty with nothing in them. So I used one of the bedrooms as like an office and the other bedroom as a little warehouse, 12 by 12 warehouse. So I didn't have to pay any upfront costs to like have storage at like a storage place. And I just basically worked out of that room. Luckily, Emily, my wife, was supportive of that. I know other people, customers mainly, are like, your wife must like you for be happy to have all those tools in the house and just make like comments to insinuate that it's a problem. But she didn't mind because I was making money off of that. But that was the first, I would say, warehouse. And it transitioned into my guest bedroom and my dining room. And then after I basically outgrew that, this is all within probably a year and a half or a year from when I started. It transitioned into my garage. Then I put a bunch of racking up in my garage. And a few months later, we had an opportunity to buy it, or not had an opportunity, but we started looking for a home on some acreage. That way we could potentially build a warehouse or just buy an existing house with a building on the property already. So from there, we just applied for a loan and got approved to buy a house on 5 acres with 2 buildings. And that's currently where we are now. And I can manage working here probably for the next, I would say, like 5 or so years. And then from there, we have solutions where we can just keep adding more shipping containers or building more buildings on the property as we expand. But my whole like business model is buy stuff and sell it as fast as we possibly can. So we really don't need that much space to hold products for years on end like other people in my same industry do. So I'm always focused on trying to get stuff out the door as fast as possible. So I would say this setup here is perfectly fine for my style of the business.
I know that you have another interest that you currently do as well, in addition to your retail sales with tools and shipping all over through the United States. What is your other business that you do, and how did that come to be?
We have 2 other types of focuses that we also do with the same company. The first one is boat and RV storage. We have Like I said, we have 5 acres, so we only have our buildings are in the house is actually on 1 acre, and the rest is all like open field. And we have boat and RV storage for the local parish community. We're located like two miles away from the nearest boat ramp and about a mile away from US 301, which makes it a good location for a lot of the new neighborhoods that are that are being built here in Parrish, Florida. It's slowly expanding, and it's mostly all word of mouth and a lot of just Facebook Marketplace, unpaid advertising that we do to gain new customers. So we haven't spent any money on that business at all, and the average person pays about like $80 per month. So it's a good passive income to have, as opposed to the tool retail business is a little bit more risky, because like tomorrow there could be a recession and no one buys tools for the next year. But I think I picked like a good industry because it's like recession proof, because if someone is buying tools now, they're probably doing like a home project or something like that, especially if times are tough and they can't hire a contractor. On the flip side of that, contractors also need tools to work on things. So that's why I think if there's a recession, people are still going to be buying the products that we sell. The other focus that we have is we do livestock. So we actually do raising chickens, and we also sell eggs. You're our lead salesperson in that division. Yeah, we tried a bunch of different livestock ventures. We've had cows, chickens, goats, pigs, ducks. We have tried different things to see if they make money. At this scale, it's not really worth it to do many of those, but the birds are easy. They don't run out of gates. And for the most part, it's good to be a producer of something that you can use yourself. And that's basically what it's down to, is just chickens. But we tried the whole like green belt thing when we first moved here, and we had that for a couple of years with the cows and all that. But the county took an aerial photo of the house and said, it looks like your storage business is making a little bit more money than your agricultural business. So they took our green belt away, which is about like $2,000 increase on our property taxes. But it's all right, because it's about, if I did the math correctly, it was like it's like storing 2 trailers for an entire year can pay for that difference. So it was fine when our field was empty to have that little tax break on property taxes. But now, since the storage business is doing pretty good, it doesn't really matter. So it was all a learning experience.
So it sounds to me like, again, it's just really finding areas that you could find opportunities and to bring income, and just really thinking outside of the box. Because I imagine 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you probably weren't thinking on the lines that you have developed into now. So it's evolved over the years. But I think one thing that runs through the entire story of yours is that you're willing to try different things. You're willing to investigate and do some research and find out what's going to be best for you and what really resonates with you. With that said, we're going to finish up here. And my last question is, what advice would you give to somebody else thinking outside the box, or just wanting to do something different, something off the mainstream?
You don't know until you try is probably the main thing. There's many things. I would say what I just shared now is just only the highlights of what I've done, what I've gone through, and experiences that I've had. It's basically like an Instagram page. People only show like their highlights. They're not going to show you like when they're down in the ditches. Maybe they are. I don't know. If you're Mike Rowe, it could be a dirty jobs segment. But the main thing is about not being afraid to try new things. You never know what's going to be the outcome of something. So there's no point in not giving it a try, because you never know what's going to pan out and what's going to actually flourish into something that's a good situation. And also, you never know like who you may come across that could transition into some other type of opportunity for you, yeah, there's no reason not to try different things. There's been many times when I've tried to sell different types of things and it's not a good experience. So you just move on to the next thing. You don't dwell over it and try to force it, because clearly it wasn't a good business move, but cut your losses and move on to the next. You can't just try one thing and if it doesn't work, be down about that and not try anything else. For instance, Amazon sellers, there's tons of people that buy these courses that think, oh, I bought the course, I'm going to be able to be a seller. That's not how it works. You have to try hundreds, maybe thousands of different products to see what sells best. And then once you find out what sells best, you have to go find distributors that will sell you the product at a price that you can make money off of it. It's a never-ending battle, and you have to always be on looking out for the future to figure out your next game plan.
Awesome. Just hearing your story has been very inspirational. And I know that you've given so many great tips and so many great things to offer other people who might be in the same scenario that you're in, which is just entrepreneurs don't work 9 to 5. They definitely work around the clock in some cases, early mornings, late nights, and doing whatever has to be done to get it done. Out of curiosity, is there a way that people can reach out to you?
The best way to reach me is 941, the number 4, and then the name Hintze, Hintze. You can text that or call that.
Thank you, Ryan, so much for just your time and sharing your heart and sharing everything that's making you just do it and go for it and be bold in business and live an abundant life. And I thank you for that. And hopefully we'll hear from other people that have some questions for you and give you an opportunity to show them what you do best. And I know that you've been very successful, and I wish you all the very best in the years to come. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That was such a special conversation with Ryan. I'm so proud of him, his family, and the successful business he continues to build. Talk about work ethic, drive, and dedication. He inspires me every day. If you'd like to learn more about Hintze LLC, check the links in the show notes. And don't forget to subscribe to Big Bold Moves Abundant Life so you'll never miss another inspiring story. Until next time, keep taking your own big bold moves towards your abundant life.